How far are you willing to go for your perfect productivity system? Is there any line you won't cross to accomplish your goals? If you're still here, then this video is absolutely for you. Now, this might sound like hyperbole, but this might be the single most incredible thing you can do to improve the way that you use Obsidian. Now, I just stumbled on this about last month. I've been using this for about a month, and I'm finally comfortable enough saying it is fantastic. So if you're curious, stick around. Okay, what are we talking about? Now, if you are even a halfway student of productivity, you understand the the cost of context switching. And that means going from one thing and being in the groove here, then having to do something completely different, and then get your mind back on what you were doing. That's why interruptions are so disruptive. You think that you can get right back into it, but research shows that it can take 10, 15 minutes to get back where you were. So there's this concept of context switching, and that it also applies to the way that we interact with our interface, the what's on the screen. And when you've built out your own Obsidian layout, you're doing a workstation or a workspace and you've got it perfectly dialed in, there's still one element that could be holding you back, and that's your mouse. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a dyed in the wool mouse user, point and click all day long. Give me a graphics user interface, a GUI. I want that. That's what I love about Obsidian is it's great to look at and everything that you want, you can point and click. But here's the thing. Taking your hand off the keyboard, using your mouse to click on things, and then putting your hand back on the keyboard might not sound like that big of a deal until you learn the other way of doing it and you don't really have to use your mouse all that much. If you could get rid of the mouse while you are interacting with text, then you're going to be saving a lot of back and forth time and energy. And I resisted this for so long. I thought it was ridiculous. I was like, this is just word cell propaganda. These are type folks who hate things that look beautiful. Like that's I was firmly in that camp. Then I decided to try this out and it's incredible. Okay. So the main concept is that you start using the keyboard to do almost everything that you would have done with the mouse and keyboard, especially when you are writing. So if you write books, you use long form, which I've covered in another video. If you're taking notes, if you're doing anything with text for any length of time, then this is absolutely going to help you out. This might change your life. Again, no hyperbole. So the I like the thing that we're talking about is called Vim Mode. And quick background of Vim, it's been a text editor on computers for decades. And it's for mainly the people who use it the most are programmers, coders, people who are very close to the terminal. And if you don't know what any of that stuff means, that's okay. All right. So you don't really need to understand that in order to use what we're going over. Just want you to understand where it's coming from so that you can appreciate what it is. And it comes from a time before the mouse was a thing because people had to navigate the space in their computer without being able to point and click. So that major constraint forced the designers to figure out really cool ways to get around programs in the computer at large. So everything was keyboard based. The benefit being that you don't have to take your hands off home row basically to accomplish everything. So let's kind of dive into the screen share. I will show you what I mean, and then you can see it in action to kind of wrap your head around what in the world I'm talking about. Okay. So let's get into our normal installation of Obsidian. And if you have any questions about why it looks the way that it looks, I've got 15 hours worth of material that walk you through everything. The only reason this is the way that it is I started stock and changed a little bit through every video, so that will keep you up to speed. So here we go. We'll open a new file and say Vim example, and this is normally how you interact with text. You would either use your arrow keys to go through and do that, or you come over here and click and drag and do all that stuff. So maybe we click and drag and delete, and then maybe Command Z to undo and kind of navigate through this way. All right. And then if we have a whole lot of information, we can go through like this using our arrow keys, or we can scroll down and click and use our mouse. Again, this is how 99% of the world interacts with text, and you're about to be the 1% that does it way different. Here we go. What we're going to do is enable something called Vim Mode. And to do that, we go down here. And also, side note, we've talked about keyboard shortcuts and hotkeys and stuff and how important that is. If you're on board with that, you're going to be super on board with this because this is hotkeys times 1,000. Okay. Because as you just saw me move the cursor down, click, and that, again, the hotkey, command, comma, boom, you're right there. So I didn't have to take my hands off home row, go click, right? So that's why it's so fast. It's amazing. Okay. So in the editor view here, we scroll down, and way down here at the bottom is this unobtrusive option that you go Vim keybindings, use Vim keybindings when editing. That is about the most underwhelming sales pitch that I've ever seen in my life. And I guess it's for a reason, because if you don't know what you're doing, it's completely baffling. Okay. So I want to walk you through so you know exactly what it is that you're getting into. All right. So we are going to enable Vim keybindings by clicking the toggle, and then this super scary notification pops up. Vim mode is for efficient text editing, but can be quite counterintuitive. If you're not familiar with Vim, this option might make it look like Obsidian has stopped working. To verify that you know your way around Vim, please enter the command to quit Vim without saving below. Okay. Crazy much? Like, okay, I get it. Like, there are warnings upon warnings, like, do not enter. But to my brain, this is catnip. Like, I can't ignore something like this. I'm like, ooh, let's figure this out. So we're gonna go through and just do this. Not a lot of explanation for why this is, but to verify that you know your way around Vim, I'm gonna show you the way to cheat your way in. So it's :Q exclamation point. All right. So that means command quit, don't save anything. All right. That's what this is. Command : is command, Q is quit, exclamation point is don't do it. And hit enter. And now up here it says command is correct. Vim mode now enabled. There are no trumpets. There are no fireworks, no fanfare, but your life just changed. Here we go. Close this out. And now you can see this little blinking cursor here in the text. And let's click up here. And now your the way that you're going to interact with text changes, because we still can use the arrow keys to move through things. Okay, so I'm just using the arrow keys, and then we can use the arrow keys here to go character by character. But now we have a lot more options available to us because the first thing to know is that Vim is modal. And all that means is there are different modes of interacting with your text. Now, normally, this is all together and you don't even know it, but you're already doing modal editing with the mouse and keyboard and all that kind of stuff. Vim just separates them out so that you've got more control within each way that you're interacting with your text. So there are basically three modes that I care about that we want to go over. The first is normal mode. That's what we're in right now. And it's called normal because normally you're going to be editing your text. You're going to be moving around the text. Now, that might be a little different for us note takers. We're mostly going to be in the second mode, which is insert mode. That means that you're going to be inserting a lot of text. So when I was typing in normally how you interact with text, and I put in all that boilerplate, that bacon lipsum, that was insert mode. And then the third mode is visual mode. And that's usually you're going to highlight or click and drag to highlight something and then do something with the text that you selected. But you want some kind of visual indicator that you've highlighted it. So in modern text editors, like Obsidian, as it comes out of the box, all three of those things all happen without you noticing. But you're really doing those three things as separate elements, okay? So that's why a lot of coders spend more time zhuzhing up their code than they do typing their code. So that's why insert mode is so simple and straightforward. Let's insert some text. But the real power comes from how you're normally going to be interacting with your text, okay? And then visual mode, again, is useful for highlighting, copying and pasting, that kind of thing, okay? So what can you do in normal mode? Let's find out. First thing to know is your home row, your hands are on home row, and your right hand is on JKL semicolon. To navigate around, you're going to move your right hand to the left one key. So now you are on HJKL, and that's how you're going to get around for the most part. Because now instead of the arrow keys, you're going to use HJK, and H moves you to the left, L moves you to the right, which L stands for left, but not in this case. So L moves you to the right, so the outside ones move you left and right. Then the middle ones, J moves you down, and K moves you up. One side note is, in my mind, J should be up because my middle finger, right, is the most active one. So I think it's up and K should be down. But since we write top, like left to right, top to bottom, then it makes sense that for the most part, we're going to be going down more than we're going up. So that's the way that helped me remember that J equals down, K is up. So you can move around like this when you're going character by character. But as you're seeing, this is pretty much just as slow as the arrow keys. So I don't really get it. Why is this any better? Well, check this out. How about we want to go to the front of the line? We want to go over to where the N is normal. So now you can hit 0 and it takes you to the front of the line. That easy. Just 0 and you're there. If you want to go to the end of the line, hit the dollar sign. Dollar sign takes you to the very end. 0 takes you to the front. Dollar sign, 0. Dollar sign, 0. Dollar sign, 0. Okay. Now, instead of moving right letter by letter, How about we go word by word and then back again? So you can hit W to advance forward one word at a time, or you can hit B to go back one word at a time. So that's kind of cool. All right. And that's more powerful than off the bat, right? So you can do that again. Word back, word back. Now, what if you wanted to go one, two, three, four words in to interact? Well, the cool part is that you can add a number in front of whatever you want to happen so that it will happen that number of times. So interact is in here. So let's do that. All right. So I miscounted. I was trying to talk and count at the same time. So instead, we are going to go 3 word. Oh, I did. This is a blooper. All right. So 3 word will take you to interact, right? And W goes to the front of the word and back goes to the front of the word. But what if you want to go to the end of the word? Well, hit E for end. And now it advances through to the end of the word. And you can go back that way. Okay. So you can just go through the end or with E or W to advance through one word at a time in the front. Or you could put in something like 20 words forward and then 30 words forward, and you're at the front of the line here. Okay. So you can navigate through really fast. And then there are some other shortcuts. So say that we are 40 words in here, and maybe we want to go down here. We'll use the arrow keys here. But now my cursor is down here, and you don't have something like a typewriter scroll enabled. And you don't want your cursor to be down at the bottom. You'd rather kind of scroll the page up. Well, you could take your hand off and scroll the page so that it's here. Or you could hit ZZ and it automatically jumps it to the middle where it's going to be. All right. So you can advance the view there by just hitting ZZ, and wherever your cursor is, it's going to bring that to the middle and shift everything to exactly where you want it to be. All right. So let's go up here, ZZ, and that brings it down. And then we go down here, ZZ, and it jumps it there. All right. Now, here's something else. What if you wanted to go all the way to the bottom to start typing stuff because you want to just pick up where you left off? All right, cool. Shift G will take you to the absolute bottom of the page that you're dealing with. Okay, what if you wanted to scroll all the way back up to the top to see the properties or whatever it is that you're working on? Cool. Just hit GG. Good. Go to the top. Like that's how I remember it. So now we're at the very, very top. Shift G takes us to the bottom. ZZ brings the bottom to the middle. GG. Good. Go to the top. And we're at the beginning of the front line. All right. So that is crazy. When you really get used to it, this gets super fast, real quick. And it's kind of bizarre how fast you acclimate to moving around like this. All right. So that is fantastic. Now, if you've got eagle eyes, you might have noticed that now instead of going one letter at it, like one line at a time, it's jumping the whole way. Well, in its brain, it's thinking about that one long sentence or this one paragraph as one line because it's one unbroken line of text in its brain. Okay. So that's why you're not going line break by line break. You're going by line even though it has line breaks in it. Now, this is difficult to understand with me just saying it. So let's go enable another feature that might have been Greek to you. So we're going to go into the editor and right here, show line numbers in the gutter. Keep your mind out of the gutter. Okay, so we just enable this and close it. And now over here, it makes a little more sense because this is line 5 and then line 6 is here. So the line breaks make it easy to see, but in Obsidian's brain, it's thinking this is line 4, line 5, line 6, line 7, line 8. So when you're navigating line by line, that's why it's skipping ahead. And then that's why it's important to do 20 words forward, 40 words forward, and you're going through like this, right? Or you can go back, you can go forward, and that kind of thing. So that's going to throw you off at first. So I just wanted you to see how to do that, okay? But here's another cool thing, which is, okay, well, now how far down do you want to go? Well, now we can go down several lines and say we are at line 1 and we want to go to line 9. So we can hit 9 down, and that brings us 9 steps down. But as you saw, it went 1 too far because I was actually on line 1, and then line 9 is 8 lines away. So when I did 9, I went 1 too far. All right? So if it trips you up, you're not alone, because that was really goofing me up for quite a while. Because what you can do GG the same way, because you can say 4, good, go to 4, 8, go to 8. So that's how you jump directly to the proper line number that you want. All right. So instead of jumping how many lines away, you want to jump directly to that line number 8 or 4 or whatever that is. But say you still want to be able to jump around without exactly what line number you're talking about. So now we're going to install another plugin, and this will be in Community Plugins, Browse, Relative Line Numbers. All right, so this was updated a year ago. That one was 3 years ago, but it doesn't really need much more. So we install and enable, and now the numbers are numbering away from your cursor. So your cursor is always 0, and then the lines away from it are 1 line away, 2 lines away, 3 lines away. Okay? So this number out here is the actual line number that you're at. But you don't care about what line number these are. You care about how many line numbers away it is. So now if I did 1 up, I'm going to the correct thing. If I wanted to go up here, I would hit 4 up, and now I'm there. So I'm not constantly having to do math to be like, all right, I'm at 10, I want to go to 3, so I want to do 7 up, but that'll actually put me too far away, so I actually want to be 6. Like, all that math is ridiculous. Don't do it. Install relative line numbers, and now you always know how far away, relatively speaking, you want to go. Now, this is super important when you're dealing with really long articles and that kind of thing. If you're at 300 lines or something, then the math could get goofy because you're like 378 and I want to go 12 lines up. What's that math? With relative line numbers, you just go 12 up and you're done. Okay. So that's why you always want relative numbers. Another benefit is that, well, let's go to the bottom here and just go all the way down, line by line, enter by enter. Okay. So here you can see that we're at line 47 and it goes all the way up to 33 here. So with my settings, with my font and all that kind of stuff, you're only ever 33 lines away. So that's the highest number you have to count. And that's if you're at the very, very bottom. Because as we go up line by line, you can now see that the top is only 15 away and the bottom's only 18 away. So you don't ever have to think higher than 30 whatever. And now you get a feel for how far away things are. And then you can just be like, all right, 11 up, I want to go there. And then if I'm here and down here, all right, 24 down, and I'm going to be here. You just start to get a feel for how far away things are, and then you use the relative line numbers to know exactly where to jump, but in your head, you already are thinking that's an 8-line jump away kind of thing. All right, so again, this might be super goofy for you, but I implore you to stick with it. And if you are here with me still, I strongly suggest that you sign up for the email list. If you sign up through the link in the description here, it'll send you to my cheat sheet for the most common key bindings and ways to move around and stuff. Okay, so that'll be super helpful to you. That's relative line numbers and stuff and normal mode. So you can see how normally you would be using the mouse for a lot of this stuff, but now you can use the keyboard to move around and all that jazz. Then from normal mode, you want to insert some text. So you hit I to insert text. Now your keyboard just works like a normal keyboard works. This is very important text. Okay? So that's pretty much all you need to know about insert mode. It's what you're already used to. Now to get out of insert mode to where you can start manipulating and using normal mode, you hit escape. And you know that you're in normal mode because you got that big block cursor blinking there. Hit I. Now you're here. Okay. Escape. Now you're back into normal mode, right? Because you can now start to edit things and you can hit R to replace and then hit another character and you're in here. Or if you want to um, really replace everything without leaving normal mode, that's how you do it, right? So there's all sorts of fun tricks that you can use to navigate around when you're doing this stuff. All right. Now the last mode, the third mode is visual. So you hit V for visual and nothing really changes except now when you navigate through, you're highlighting stuff. And you can go back, you can go forward, you can go to the end of lines, you can go back this way, and then you can delete stuff, put it back, and you're out of visual mode. Okay. And then, oh yeah, another thing in normal mode. Oh, you want to delete this whole line? Okay, DD, and it's gone. All right. You want to put it back? Hit P to put it back. If you want to, if you are here, couple words in, and then you wanted to go to the next line to insert some more text, hit O for open a new line, put some words in, hit escape, and now you're back in. But what if you wanted to, oh, you're like, oh, I wanted to put something between these two lines. Okay, Shift O will put you between. It actually just puts you above. So you could do Shift O and put it here. All right. So all the things that you normally would have done with the mouse or you'd have to click to the end of the line, hit enter, and then start typing. All those kinds of things are how you would normally interact with your text, and you don't even realize that it's a dedicated way of interfacing with your data. That's why I wanted to show this to you. This got a little bit longer than I really expected it to be, but yeah, seriously, give this a try for about a week and let your mind really accept it for what it is, and just dedicate yourself to going all in. Now, if you want to practice and actually go through the learning process for Vim and understand what all the key bindings are and that kind of thing, there's actually a tutorial. It does require you to go to your terminal. So if that's super scary, then that could be a whole nother video of me walking you through it. But let's go over to my terminal and start Vim by just typing in Vim, and we're here. If you want to learn the tutorial, colon brings you down here to the bottom, and you're looking for the tutor. And then you hit enter, and now you're in the Vim tutor. And it walks you through how to navigate around. And it just walks you through. It just kind of explains everything that we talked about. H goes left, L goes right, K goes up, J goes down, and it shows you all the stuff that you can do. So yeah, that's a cool thing. Another one, another thing to do would be go to Caves of Cud. That's a sci-fi turn-based strategy game that's been in development for almost 20 years, and you navigate around with HJKL, and that got me used to moving around. It's a really cool game. I was like, Vim bindings, huh? So that was part of what put this on my radar, and I was like, yeah, let me check this out, right? So those are a couple places where you can get familiar with this outside of Obsidian, but the easiest way is to just go all in and sink or swim and spend a week doing it, and you'll be up to speed before you know it. So that's it for now. Like the video, that tells YouTube that you enjoyed it. And then next thing to do is check out this video, and I'll see you over there. Remember, if you can change your mind, you can change your life.